Boom, boom, boom. Though you don't call anymore, I sit and wait in vain. I guess I'll rap on your door, tap on your window pane. Window pane. I wanna tell you, baby, changes I've been going through. Missing you, listen to you, till you come back to me. That's what I'm gonna do. Why did you have to decide you had to set me free? I'm gonna swallow my pride and beg you to please, baby, please see me. I'm gonna walk by myself to prove that my love is true. Oh, for you, baby, till you come back to me. That's what I'm gonna do. Mm, Put it right there. Living for you, my dear, is like a little world of vacancy. Hear my plea. I got to make you see that our love is dying. Die. Although your phone you ignore, somehow I must, somehow I must, how I must explain. I'm gonna rap on your door and tap on your window pane. With no pain, I'm gonna get by your steps until I get through to you. I got to change your view, baby. Hey, good morning, good afternoon. That's enough time. Good evening, family. I hope everybody enjoyed the first day of Kwanzaa and celebrated Christmas, if that's what you celebrate. I want to welcome you to the Mental House with me, your host, Khadija. Y'all, sometimes there's these messages that we want to hear. They might not be pleasing to the palate, but it's these messages that help liberate and fix us. If we have the courage to stand 10 toes down and deal with it, right? So, what I decided to do is I wanted to talk about one of the um, most premier speeches that I've ever heard talking about who we are as enslaved Americans, right? Adults, descendants of chattel slavery. So I can't say it better than my brother. And I'm going to let him breathe on it right now. And I hope y'all enjoy this little message. Matter of fact, I want to thank Black Culture Diary. And if y'all could subscribe and go check out his channel, I'm sure you would enjoy it because he's got a lot of things up there for black culture stuff. Some of stuff that you're not going to get in school. Stuff that they've taken out of school. We got so many people that don't know how this stuff works because there's no more civics in school. So I would just encourage you to go over to Black Culture's channel. That's Black Culture channel. Diary. Black Culture Diary. And just look at some of the content that he's got. But in the meantime, y'all know y'all brother. Y'all love him. And let's hear what your brother got to say.
Can say you don't like the truth of what I say, but you cannot say that what I say is a lie. I will stake my life on what I say. Will you stake your life on what you say? The slaves. They were the plantation owners that bought the slaves. They were the masters that worked the slaves. They were the ones that helped to rob us.
What if we told you that the history you've been fed about power, race, and justice is a lie? And not just any lie, but one so deep, so twisted, it changes everything you thought you knew? Minister Louis Farrakhan, the man who makes people squirm just by opening his mouth, delivers a speech that challenges everything we've been told. His words, shocking. His message, earth-shattering. Farrakhan's not just ranting. What he's saying could change the way you see the world. His words are raw, real, and dangerous to the system. They're a lot more truthful than you'd like to admit. Let's get into it. We're going to talk about black leadership, the dirty truth about history, and why you can't ignore what Farrakhan is saying, no matter how controversial it sounds. But here's the thing. Farrakhan's speech isn't just about him. It's a call to all of us. It's about black people, the fight for justice, and what happens when you start speaking the truth, even if it means taking on the whole system. By the end of this video, you'll see Farrakhan's message through a whole new lens, and it won't be what you expected. Farrakhan starts with leadership because for him, it's the cornerstone of black empowerment. He doesn't just address black leaders. He challenges them in a way that makes you question everything you thought you knew about leadership in the black community. He throws down a hard question. Are you truly helping, or are you just part of the problem? And he's not just talking about a few individuals. He's talking about the entire structure of black leadership, especially the black preachers and scholars who occupy positions of power and influence.
Life. Here we are, 30 to 40 million black people who have been turned upside down and inside out. 30 to 40 million black people who don't know who they are.
Hi, John McGivern here. I know you have a lot of choice.
When the system is built on oppression and inequality, those leaders become more like cogs in the machine, doing just enough to seem like they're helping, but ultimately keeping black people tied to the very system that has oppressed it for centuries. Think about this. We've all heard promises from our leaders, from preachers to politicians, about how they're going to change the game for black people. Yet, year after year, the same struggles. Poverty, lack of education, discrimination remain. Farrakhan isn't the first to point this out, but his words hit differently. He doesn't hold back when he says that many of our so-called leaders are simply puppets of a system that benefits from black oppression. These leaders, by not challenging the system at its core, are complicit in maintaining it. Whether they realize it or not, they're reinforcing the very chains that hold the black community back. Farrakhan digs deeper into why this happens. He doesn't just criticize leaders for being ineffective. He exposes a deeper flaw in the way they are educated and trained. He argues that the very education that these leaders receive, whether it's in theology schools, universities, or political institutions, is not designed to empower black people. It's designed to ensure that these leaders remain subservient to a system that thrives on inequality. Leaders who are taught to please the system, rather than to challenge or dismantle it, are stuck managing the symptoms of oppression, not eradicating the disease.
We are like mannequins in the shopping mall of democracy. When you go to the shopping mall, you see the mannequin. The mannequin is dressed in what you would like to buy. The mannequin can't talk. The mannequin can't walk. We got black people in power, but they don't have power. We got black people with money. people with money that we think are giants, but in the company of their white counterparts, they are midgets.
This is where Farrakhan gets brutally honest. We can't afford to keep following the same kind of leadership that has kept us trapped. Black people can't afford to keep supporting leaders who are more concerned with securing their place in the system than with freeing their people.
Few points that I want to make is based on what I heard. My sister with the union, she wants to be at the right table at the right time to talk about the right issues where workers are concerned. Everyone at this table, my dear sister, talked about policy and community. Reverend Lowry and Reverend Sharpton brilliantly defined for us really the crux of the matter. Here's what I see. Respectfully, Frederick Douglass said, power concedes nothing without a demand. But power won't even concede to a demand if the demand is coming from a weak constituency that looks like they've lost their testicular fortitude.
But Farrakhan compromised with the system. Farrakhan's vision is clear. True leadership is about liberation, not adaptation. And so, the question becomes, how do we break those chains? What happens when we start to demand leadership that challenges, rather than conforms to, the system? This is the turning point. Farrakhan isn't asking for incremental changes or moderate reforms. He's calling for an uprising in leadership. The fight for Black liberation won't come from leaders who are still trying to make peace with the system. It will come from leaders who are willing to risk everything to create a new world. This isn't just a theoretical idea. It's a practical, urgent call to action. But do we still need to fight? Farrakhan doesn't just talk about modern-day oppression. He connects it directly to the past, to a history that many of us have been taught to ignore, sanitize, or forget. But he makes it clear that understanding this history isn't just an intellectual exercise. It's crucial for understanding why Black people are still fighting for true freedom today. Now, many of us may think, wait, haven't we already gained independence? Wasn't colonialism the real problem? That's the myth Farrakhan aims to shatter. He brings up uncomfortable truths, ones that many would prefer to leave untouched.
They were the principal architects in distributing this.
Is it possible to get keto results without the diet?
Not only that, I lost almost 100 pounds.
Slaves. They were the auctioneers that sold the slaves. They were the plantation owners that bought the slaves. They were the masters that worked the slaves. They were the ones that helped to rob us of our minds, of our names, our language, our culture, our religion, our God, so that today you know nothing of yourself because of your friends. It was Jews who fought against Nat Turner, Denmark Vesey, Gabriel Prosser, Toussaint Louverture, Dessalines, Christophe. It was Jews who worked against Frederick Douglass, Jews who worked against Marcus Garvey, Jews that worked against Malcolm X, Martin Luther King, Jews in the government, in the Justice Department, Jews that worked against the prophets of God.
Now, this is a statement that raises eyebrows. He's using it as an example of how history has been rewritten, manipulated, and sanitized to protect the power structures that continue to benefit from Black oppression. Here's a reminder to please like and share the video and subscribe to our channel to watch more videos on Black culture, history, civilization, and identity. Let's continue now. Farrakhan's message here isn't just about challenging who played what role in slavery. It's about the bigger picture. What have we been told about our history? The version we've been taught has been deliberately incomplete, leaving out the parts that make those in power uncomfortable. By erasing these inconvenient truths, the oppressors maintain control, and those who benefit from this erasure continue to profit off Black suffering. But why does this matter today?
If we want to get where we want to go, we can't focus on the house that has rejected us and our fathers for 400 years. We have to now focus.
The struggle for Black liberation isn't over, because we've never really been freed. We've been handed the illusion of freedom, but the systems of control remain. Colonialism may have ended in the traditional sense, but the structures that supported it, racism, economic inequality, and political disenfranchisement, are alive and well. They've evolved, becoming even more insidious and difficult to recognize.
Your unemployment rate is now 26%. This is the male. Nearly 50% of our youth are unemployed. Is that right? Blacks are more than 3 times as likely to be poor as whites. And as of 1981, the median income of blacks was 56% of that of whites. Over 50% of all black children are growing up in poverty today, and according to the social scientists, they don't see any way out for our children in the future. Now, if they don't see any way out, do you see a way out? I do. How can our children remain in poverty if we say they will not? There is a way out if you and I take up the challenge, and that's what I'm in Los Angeles to do, not to teach you to hate white people or to hate Jews, but to pick up the challenge of your responsibility as a free man and woman and determine a future.
The end of colonialism didn't signify real independence for Black people. Instead, it was just a shifting of the same oppressive forces into new forms. Black people were allowed a seat at the table, but the table was still designed by the same hands that enslaved them. Farrakhan doesn't mince words. Black people haven't gained true independence.
Brothers and sisters, though Mr. Garvey and the Honorable Elijah Muhammad preached separation, you know that white people do not want to let us go, and most of us don't want to go. Come on, let's deal with the truth now. Shall I say that again? White folks are afraid to let you go, because if they let you go, they feel, according to Scripture, you may join on to a powerful enemy and remember the evil that they poured on you and come back against them. So they really don't want to let you go. However, at the same time that they don't want to let you go, they have nothing here for you to do.
Sure, we gained political independence. Countries in Africa and the Caribbean fought for and won their independence from colonial powers. The civil rights movement gave Black Americans legal rights and protections. But what about deeper independence? The kind that allows Black people to control their resources, to own businesses without being stifled by systemic discrimination, to educate their children without interference, and to have true autonomy over their communities? The truth is that even though slavery ended and colonialism formally ceased, Black people were never fully liberated. The systems that kept Black people subjugated simply adapted and found new ways to control Black lives. Farrakhan's argument is clear. The myth of Black independence is just that, a myth. And until we confront the truth about our history, we'll continue to be trapped in this cycle of false liberation, where we're told we're free but still suffer the consequences of systemic oppression. Understanding this truth is essential because it shows us that the work is far from over. As Farrakhan points out, it's not just about learning the history of slavery and colonialism, but about understanding how those systems evolved into what we face today. The prison industrial complex, the wealth gap, and voter disenfranchisement aren't accidents. These are the modern manifestations of a system built to keep Black people in a state of economic and political subjugation.
Why should our people have to subsist on charity or live in poor houses when we built the country for you, fought, bled, and died to maintain the country for you? You ask us to pay taxes like everybody else. Wait a minute, we don't get justice. We give you our tax dollar to support a police department that doesn't respect us. We give you our tax dollar to support education that does not educate us properly. We give you our tax dollars. You spend $4 billion each year on Israel to maintain Israel in a welfare position. You send billions of dollars. You rebuilt Germany. You rebuilt Japan. Here we are, fought, bled, and died, made you what you are. What are you willing to come on down with to help?
Have you been saying you're going to write a book for a while? Now that the world's flipped upside down and things are...
The Black man rebuild himself.
And so, the question we must ask ourselves today is, what does it look like for Black people to heal and break free from the system that has controlled us for centuries? How do we confront these truths and use them to fuel our fight for true freedom?
I recognize that the thing that is missing is not the genius that is present or the genius that is absent, but the thing that is missing is the unity of us as a people. My beloved brother, Mr. Frazier, articulated some magnificent economic truths that can be realized fully by the unity of us as a people.
Farrakhan speaks of unity, but not the kind of unity that's often preached in mainstream circles. He's not talking about surface-level unity, the kind where people gather around a shared cause, fight a common enemy for a brief moment, and then go their separate ways. No, Farrakhan's vision of unity is far deeper. It's about true solidarity, where Black people come together not just to protest against injustice, but to rebuild the very foundation of their society. Farrakhan argues that healing for Black people can only begin when we stop asking for permission from institutions that have kept us in a perpetual state of inequality. For too long, Black people have been forced to seek validation from the same structures that have oppressed them. We've been waiting for the white establishment to grant us rights, equality, and opportunities. But this approach is inherently flawed. This is the cycle that has kept us trapped for so long, a cycle of dependence, waiting for those in power to lift us. Farrakhan's message is clear. Stop asking for permission. Instead, we need to create our path. Farrakhan envisions a future where Black people build their schools, their businesses, and their communities free from the influence of systems that continue to keep them marginalized. This vision goes beyond just equality or integration into the system. It's about self-sufficiency, about not needing permission or validation from anyone. Farrakhan argues that Black people must stop depending on the very institutions that have historically perpetuated inequality, whether it's the education system, the economic system, or the political system, and start building the independent infrastructure needed to support and uplift the community.
Sister talked about education and health issues. We cannot any longer depend on a benevolent white person in office to look out for our needs. That responsibility is ours.
Building independent institutions isn't just about creating physical structures. It's about fostering a mindset of self-reliance and autonomy. Farrakhan challenges us to think about what true power looks like. It's not about hoping that society will change for the better or that someone else will provide the tools needed for Black success. It's about taking control. Black communities need to start looking inward, focusing on their strengths, resources, and potential, and building their futures from there. But here's the question. Can this vision truly become a reality? Can we achieve this kind of unity and independence while rejecting the system that has been holding us down for so long? Is it even possible to rise above the grip of a system that has been designed to trap us? Farrakhan believes the answer is yes, but it requires bold, uncompromising action.
Listen. The maker, the owner, the cream of the planet Earth, the God of the universe. That's who you are, and that's who you were.
It's no longer about waiting for the system to validate us or give us a space. It's about taking that space for ourselves. It's about reclaiming the power that has been denied to us for generations. And in doing so, creating an unshakable foundation, a foundation that future generations can build upon and thrive in. But is it even possible for Black people to thrive in a system that was never designed for them to succeed? Farrakhan says no. The system is rigged. Political and economic structures weren't designed with Black people in mind. From the moment Black people were brought to this country, the system has been built to keep them struggling.
You know what I think? I think you've given up.
Given up on what?
On the ideal of an integrated America, the dream of Martin Luther King. I think you've given up. I'm not trying to be a smart aleck now. I'm telling you honestly that I think you've given up.
If I may respond, the Kerner Commission, established by President Johnson in 1967, said that there were two societies, one black, one white, one rich, one poor. And the Kerner Commission gave specific recommendations that had to be followed if America believed in integration. 20 years after that, a group of scientists got together to see what the progress was. And the progress is
backward.
That we have a larger middle class, but the masses of Black people have gone backward. And the country is not only separate and unequal, but in worse condition today than it was then. So I don't think, Mr.
You make my point.
Donahue, you should put it on me that I've given up. America has never believed in integration. Never.
Black people must create their system, one that doesn't rely on the economic and political structures that were designed to keep us down. Would you like to follow the path given by Farrakhan? Will Black people unite for the sake of true independence? Let us know in the comments section. Do you see Black people all around the world finally winning independence as a race? Do you want to watch more videos like this one?
Now, I know a lot of people
And press the bell icon
have a
next to it.
problem
We have decided to bring videos
with Farrakhan and what he says. But if you think about it, Farrakhan is the only world leader, Black man, on the planet Earth. I see other nations and other countries, Lithuania, Estonia, all of them. Croatia. We talking about for the Europeans. We not even talking about the African nations. Respect this man, just like they respect, and they beginning to respect now, Ibrahim Traore. Right? That's strength. Because that is what the Black man is supposed to represent. Strength. That is why he was oppressed, and that's why he has to steady have a foot on his neck, because of who he is. But he has to realize who he is, or we'll never have a free and balanced society. Now, I know a lot of y'all don't agree with that. So leave me a comment below. Let me know what your take on it is. How do we get ourselves out of this condition? Because you already saw what happened in this last election. And as Black people, we were totally dismissed. Even to the point where they said Kamala Harris put no money on the ground, no headquarters, and monies, funds into campaign offices that were located in the black community. There was no boots on the ground. There was not hardly people that were being paid to disseminate the information. So you see, how much are you gonna be loyal to a system that is disloyal to you, that keeps telling you to wait? Keep waiting. Oh, it ain't time yet. It ain't. You got to keep on doing. No. They say in due time. Well, time is due. So I want to know what y'all think. If you like what you hear, please like, subscribe. Excuse me. Share my channel. And I'll see you in the next video. Bye, family.